Imagine a weapon so powerful it could end civilization. A weapon so terrifying, its very existence haunted the dreams of Allied leaders during World War II. This wasn't some futuristic ray gun or a supertank. It was something far more insidious, the atomic bomb. And in 1942, one nation was terrifyingly close to building it. That nation was Nazi Germany. Their secret ingredient? Heavy water, a rare form of water essential for nuclear fission, produced at a remote plant in occupied Norway. This wasn't just any factory. It was the Norsk hydro plant at Vemork near Rjukan. It was the only facility in the world capable of producing heavy water on an industrial scale. The Allies knew they had to stop it. If Hitler got an atomic bomb, the war would be lost. The fate of the world literally rested on crippling this single, isolated facility. But how do you destroy the most heavily guarded industrial target in Nazi-occupied Europe, located deep in a treacherous mountain wilderness, without alerting the enemy? This is the untold story of Operation Gunnerside, a mission so audacious, so desperate, it sounds like something from a Hollywood movie. Our story truly begins years earlier, with a brilliant Norwegian scientist named Leif Tronsted. Tronsted wasn't just a professor, he was a visionary. He'd been instrumental in developing the heavy water production process at Vemork. He understood its unique properties and, crucially, its potential for destruction. When Germany invaded Norway in 1940, Tronsted escaped to Britain. He brought with him an urgent warning. The Nazis were stockpiling heavy water. His intelligence sent shivers down the spines of Allied command. The British Special Operations Executive, or SOE, immediately recognized the gravity of the threat. They knew they needed to act fast. But direct bombing raids were out of the question. The plant was too robust, too well defended, and the target too precise. Any attempt would risk civilian casualties in Rjukan and likely fail to destroy the specific heavy water production cells, which were heavily reinforced. The first attempt, Operation Freshman, was a disaster. British glider-borne commandos, meant to land near Vemork, crashed in brutal weather. The survivors were captured by the Gestapo and executed under Hitler's infamous commando order, a grim reminder of the mission's deadly stakes. The SOE realized a new approach was needed. They wouldn't send British soldiers into a Norwegian winter. They'd send Norwegians. Enter Joachim Ronneberg, a young, charismatic lieutenant. He would lead Gunnerside, a hand-picked team of 6 highly trained Norwegian commandos. These weren't just soldiers. They were mountaineers, skiers, and survival experts, intimately familiar with the brutal Norwegian wilderness. Their mission: infiltrate the Vemork plant, destroy the heavy water production cells, and escape, all without firing a shot if possible. On February 16, 1943, the team parachuted onto the frozen Hardangervidda Plateau. But their drop zone was miles off target, adding days to their already arduous journey. Imagine the biting cold, the endless white landscape, the absolute silence broken only by the crunch of snow underfoot. Every breath was a struggle. For days, they battled blizzards and exhaustion, surviving on moss and their wits, their only company the vast, unforgiving wilderness. They eventually linked up with an advance party, Operation Grouse, who had been living off the land for months, gathering vital intelligence. Together, they were now 11 men. Their target lay across a deep gorge, guarded by a sheer 600-foot drop, a frozen river, and German sentries. Most people believed the plant was unassailable. The Germans certainly did, focusing their defenses on the bridge and the main road. But Ronneberg had another idea. A risky, almost suicidal plan: descend into the gorge, cross the frozen river, and climb the sheer cliff face on the other side. On the night of February 27th, under a clear, moonlit sky, they made their move. The silence of the gorge was profound, amplifying every crunch of ice, every whispered command. They scaled the cliff, a grueling climb in heavy boots and equipment, each man relying on the one above him, their lives hanging by a thread. Reaching the top, they found an unguarded railway track leading directly into the plant. The Germans had considered the cliff impassable. This was their moment. Splitting into small teams, they found a way into the heavy water production cell building, bypassing locks and alarms. Inside, the hum of machinery filled the air. They located the high-concentration electrolysis chambers, the heart of the heavy water operation. Ronneberg and his men worked quickly, attaching plastic explosives to each of the vital cells. Every second felt like an hour. What we do not know for certain is just how close Germany was to a viable atomic weapon. While they had the scientific knowledge, their industrial capacity was severely hampered. Some historians, like David Irving, controversially argue Germany was never truly close. Others, like Neal Bascomb, the Saboteurs, contend this mission was critical. Myth correction: many believe Germany was just weeks away from an atomic bomb. In reality, while they had the theory, they lacked the industrial scale and a unified scientific effort. The Vemork sabotage bought the Allies crucial time, forcing Germany to restart its heavy water production from scratch, a process that would take years. With the charges set, Ronneberg lit the fuses. A quiet hiss, then the team scrambled out, disappearing back into the snowy night. A few moments later, a series of muffled explosions ripped through the heavy water chambers. Not a massive blast, but enough to shatter the vital equipment. Over 1,000 kilograms of heavy water, the world's entire stock outside the Allied sphere, poured out onto the factory floor, lost forever. The Germans were stunned. They thought the plant was impenetrable. A full-scale manhunt was launched, involving thousands of troops. But the Gunnerside team, masters of the winter wilderness, began their epic escape. They skied 250 miles across the mountains to neutral Sweden. It was an incredible feat of endurance, a testament to their training and sheer will. They were pursued, but the snow-covered mountains were their ally. The Germans rebuilt the plant, but the damage was done. The Allies, informed by Tronstad and MI6 reports, knew they had to strike again. This time, the attack was from the air. In November 1943, over 150 American bombers pounded Vemork, causing extensive damage. The Germans decided to move the remaining heavy water stocks, about 16 tons, by ferry across Lake Thyn to Germany. Another Norwegian commando, Knut Haukelid, who had been part of the original Gunnerside team, was tasked with stopping them. On February 20th, 1944, Haukelid and his men planted explosives on the ferry SF Hydro. As it crossed the deepest part of Lake Thyn, the charges detonated. The ferry sank, taking with it the last of Germany's heavy water supply. An estimated 14 civilians and 4 German soldiers died, but the mission was a success. The sabotage at Vemork and the sinking of the Hydro were not the sole reasons Germany failed to develop an atomic bomb, but they were undeniably a critical blow. They bought the Allies precious time, crippled a superpower's most terrifying ambition, and ensured that the horror of nuclear warfare never became a Nazi reality. It's a chilling reminder of how a few brave individuals, facing impossible odds, can alter the course of history with courage and ingenuity. Their secret mission saved millions. It's a story etched not just in the annals of military history, but in the very fabric of our modern world.